Esther. I'll be going through all of the steps of the lash lift with you. I also have Sarah who's going to be helping me with all of your questions. Also, in order to receive your certifications, you will need to send in 2 before and after photos of 2 different models. If you're taking the lash tint and brow tint afterwards, you can use the same model to send in and get certified for both of those. So moving into the lash lift. The lash lift is also known as a lash perm, just a process of perming the natural lashes. You can either replicate a J curl or a C curl. Your J curl is going to be your most natural looking curl, and then you have the C curl that's a little bit more of a lift, a little bit more dramatic. I don't ever think it's too dramatic. It does last 6 to 8 weeks, so it's a really great option for those clients who just want something super low maintenance. They don't want to have to come every 2 to 3 weeks to get their lashes filled. This will last 6 to 8 weeks, so it goes a little longer. Also, it's a great option for those clients who are allergic to the sand acrylic inside the adhesive for extensions. Let's talk about the phases of the natural lash growth. We have 3 different phases. We have the anagen phase, the catagen phase, and the telogen phase. Your anagen phase is the first phase of the natural lash cycle. It's also known as the growth phase. So this is the phase when the lashes are actively growing, and it lasts between 30 to 45 days. Only about 40% of your upper lashes and 15% of your lower lashes will be in the anagen phase at any one time. Each lash will grow to a specific length, then stop. Then it'll move into the catagen phase, that's also known as the transition phase. So during this phase, the lash stops growing, the hair follicle begins to shrink, and then if an eyelash falls out or is plucked out during this phase, it won't grow back right away because the follicle needs to complete the catagen phase before it can move on to the next. This phase will last between 2 and 3 weeks. Then you have the telogen phase, that's also known as the resting phase. This phase can last up to 90 days for an eyelash to fall out and a new one begin to grow. Because each individual lash is in its own phase of the growing cycle, it's normal for a few lashes to fall out each day. It typically takes between 4 and 8 weeks to fully replace an eyelash. So this is something you want to educate your clients on so they don't think, oh, because I got a lash lift now, my lashes are falling out. Normally we don't notice until we do something to our lashes, so just educate your clients on the phases of the natural lash growth. So moving into the lash lift contents, we have the eyelash lift cream step 1. This is the first cream that you're going to use in the lash lift process. It is your perming solution. You want to make sure that it does not touch the skin, and if it does, you get cleansing pads. You can just use a cleansing pad and wipe it off the skin. Then you have your eyelash lift step 2, cream step 2. This is the second cream that you use in the lash lift process. It is the neutralizer, so this is what's going to neutralize the lashes from the perming effects of step 1. Then you have the eyelash conditioner. This is the third step that's used in the lash lift process. The eyelash conditioner just conditions the natural lashes and promotes strong, healthy, natural looking lashes. You have 3 different sizes of rods. You have the blue rods, you have the red rods, and you have green rods. Your blue rods are going to be for the short lashes. The red rods will be for medium lashes, and then the green will be for the long lashes. With either one of these rods, you can either replicate a J curl or a C curl, just depending on how you place them. So if you're wanting to go for the C curl, the colored part of the rod will need to be on the outer corner of the right eye and on the inner corner of the left eye. And for a J curl, the colored part of the rod will need to be in the inner corner of the right eye and on the outer corner of the left eye. So if both colored parts face to the right, that's a C curl. If they both face to the left, then you're going to get a J curl. Then you have your eyelash rod glue. This is the glue that you're going to use to attach the rod to the skin. You'll also use this glue to attach the lashes to the rod. Then you have mini sticks. The mini sticks is what we use to press and straighten the lashes onto the rod. We get micro swabs. That is what we apply step 1 and 2 with. Then we have that nice little silicone pad, that square silicone pad you see in your kit. Just a nice clean surface where we can dispense step 1 and 2 onto. Then we have the eye gel pads, is what we use to secure the lower lashes to make sure that we don't curl the lower lashes up with our upper lashes. You get mascara brushes. We use these to brush out the lashes during the service before, and then we also use a clean one to dip into our conditioner and apply the conditioner to the lashes. Then we have the micro pore tape. We also use this to help secure the lower lashes. Sometimes those lower lashes won't stay underneath the eye gel pad. So this is what we use to make sure that we can secure all of those lower lashes. Sanitation, just like anything else, you always want to make sure that you wash your hands before each client. Only use disposable applicators. Use them only once to prevent cross-contamination. Quick overview of the process. Here's where you'll see how quick and easy it is. First, you're just going to start by cleansing the natural lashes, making sure that there's no makeup residue left behind on the lashes or any mascara. Then we'll brush them out with a mascara brush. Anytime that we add any moisture to the lashes, they kind of just like to stick together, clump together. So we'll just brush them out, make sure they come back apart. Then we'll secure the lower lashes with our eye gel pad. At this point, we can choose our rod size. Once you're choosing your rod size, you want to make sure that those lashes fully wrap around the the rod all the way. If they don't, then you're really not going to notice that much of a difference on the curl of the lashes. So make sure that the lashes fully wrap around the rod. And then again, making sure that those rods are facing the same direction to get the same curl on both eyes. If both the color parts are facing the right, you'll get a C curl. If both the color parts of the rod are facing the left, then you'll get a J curl. Once you choose your rod, then you can apply glue to the entire back of the rod. Then you'll apply as close as you can to the lash line. Once you get it as close as you can to the lash line, then we can start wrapping the lashes with our mini stick. When we're wrapping, again, we want to make sure that they're wrapping fully all the way around the rod and that they are straight. And then once we have them both wrapped, we can apply step 1. So step 1 will only go from the base to the middle of the lash for the first 5 minutes. We'll let it sit for those 5 minutes, then we're going to apply some more of the cream and pull it all the way to the ends. So that'll total in 10 minutes, so 5 minutes each. Once it's been left on for 10 minutes, then we can take a cleansing pad and wipe step 1 off. Step 1 needs to be wiped off before we can apply step 2. So we'll wipe that off. Now we're ready to apply step 2. Step 2 will go on from base to ends for the full 10 minutes. Once we let it sit for 10 minutes, then we can take a cleansing pad and wipe it off. And then we'll take a new cleansing pad and start to release the lashes off of the rod. And we're just going to do that by rubbing back and forth with the cleansing pad. Once we release the lashes, we can remove the rod. Make sure that there's no glue left behind on the skin or the lashes. Once we're sure of that, then we can take a mascara brush, a clean one, and dip into the conditioner. One loaded mascara brush of conditioner is enough for both eyes, so we won't need to be re-dipping. We can apply the conditioner, and then that's the end of your service. However, if you were to curl up one of the lower lashes with the upper lashes, instead of just letting your client walk out with the lower lashes curled up, we can just take more of the step 1 onto some micro swabs, and we're just going to brush it, we're just directing it back down. We'll leave it on for 3 minutes, and then we're going to wipe that off and apply step 2. Leave that on for another 3 minutes, then we can apply conditioner once we wipe that off. So it only takes 6 extra minutes to correct those little lower lashes. If you were offering a tint though along with the lash lift, your step 3, which is the conditioner, now becomes step 4. So really quick, I'll go through those steps there. So for the lash lift, we would apply step 1, let that sit for the 10 minutes, wipe it off, then we'll apply step 2, let that sit for 10 minutes as well. We'll take a cleansing pad, remove that, and at that point you're going to release the lashes as well, remove the rod, and then we're going to replace the eye gel pad with a eye shield, and then we'll apply the tint that we decided we were going to apply, the color that we're going to apply. Let that sit, then we'll remove that, and then we apply the conditioner. So your conditioner becomes your step 4 at that point. So it's time for our live model. We're going to go ahead and switch over to our live model, so hang tight while we do that. Okay, so I have my model here. I'm just going to start by cleansing or sanitizing my hands. Okay, so I'm going to take a cleansing pad, and I'm going to cleanse her natural lashes. I'm going to have her close her eyes. I'll just cleanse and make sure that there's no makeup residue left on the lashes, no mascara before I get started. Same on the other eye. And again, I just want to start with the nice clean surface, so that's what I'm doing here, just cleansing them. Okay. So I'm going to take my eye gel pads. I'm going to secure my lower lashes. So I'm going to have her open and look up. And then just secure those lower lashes there. You can blink as much as you need to. Okay, close. Does that feel okay? Mm-hmm. So I always ask to make sure it's not inside of their eye, it's not irritating their eye, because I don't want their eyes watering while I'm trying to glue the lashes onto the rods. Okay, look up. Make sure I get all those little lashes underneath. Okay, close. Does that feel okay? Okay. All right, so I have those ready there. Now I can decide which rod I'm going to use. So when I am choosing my rod, I always, before I apply any glue on them, I'll take the rod and apply it right to that lash line. With my mini stick, I'll push up and see how it doesn't fully wrap around the rod there. That's too big, so I'm going to go down to my small rod. And sometimes the lashes will slightly pass the rod, but I stick to that rod anyway so that she can see the difference in her lashes when we're done with her lash lift. I'm just going to brush those. So I'm going to use the small rod, and I'm going to do a C-curl on her lashes. So I'm going to take and apply glue to the entire back of the rod. Just doing that. Okay. So I'm going to apply the rod. I want to make sure that there's no lashes behind my rod. So as I'm applying that, I'll take a mini stick if I see any that are kind of already pushed back. Make sure they're not behind my rod. Then I'm just going to press down slightly, not too hard, just barely, so that my rod stays in place, so that when I'm wrapping, my rod isn't moving. Makes it a lot harder if it's not, if it doesn't stay in place. So this glue does dry a little bit faster, so we need to work a little bit quicker. One thing I like to do is just work in smaller sections. That way my glue's not drying faster than I can work, and I'm not overusing my product either. So I'm just going to take and start on this corner here. And I can start wrapping. As I'm wrapping, I'm just coming up slowly around the rod, almost as if I'm waiting for them to dry before I move my mini stick. I don't know if you noticed how they kind of came right back up after I had gone through them. So see that there? So we just got to wrap slowly. If we try to go too fast, then they just don't stay on the rod and it makes it a lot harder. Then we use a lot more glue than we need to. And then as I'm working in each section, before I move on to my next one, I make sure that they're all straight, because I want all of my lashes to be straight before I apply my step 1. Then I'm going to apply more glue. Same here, I'm just coming up, wrapping them slowly so they stay on my rod. Then there's some little ones that aren't quite staying on my rod. I don't worry about those too much right now. After I'm done wrapping all the way, then I'll come back and grab those and make sure that they're on the rod. So these ones here, I'm just going to move on and then I'll come back. Brush these here. Then I'm just going to apply to my last section here. And then again, I'm just wrapping slowly so that my lashes stay on the rod. See how they come right back up? We'll go over them again until they stay on my rod. Okay, make sure those are straight. So those little lashes there, I'm just going to grab a new mini stick. I don't ever apply glue right to the lashes. I just feel it's too much glue. So I'm just going to apply it to the mini stick here, and then I'll come back and wrap those. These ones are a little bit harder to wrap just because they're so little. So just hold them just a little bit longer and they'll stay on the rod. Same with these little guys here. Make sure those stay there. Okay, so I just make sure those are straight. Those are good, so I'm going to move on to my next one. Just tilt her just a little there. Okay, and then make sure that your rods are facing in the same direction. So the color part of my rod is on the inner corner on the left eye, so it needs to be on the outer on the right eye. And then again, make sure that there's no lashes behind the rod when you're placing the rod. I'm going to get it as close as I can to that lash line. Then I'll hold it in place. And I'm not pressing too hard, I'm just barely pressing down. We are working on the eye, so we never want too much pressure on the eye. Just a little so it stays in place. Alrighty. So now I'm going to wrap this one, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm working in small sections because this glue does dry fast and I don't want it drying faster than I can work. Coming up slowly. And as I'm wrapping too, I'm just making sure that they're straight. It's a lot easier to correct them now before the glue fully dries, rather than wrapping all the way, then coming back and trying to correct it. Just pulls on the lash a little too much. Okay, do my next section. Same thing, I'm just coming up slowly so that my lashes stay on the rod. Make sure that they're all straight. Then I'm going to come back, same thing here, with a new mini stick and get those to wrap. And again, don't ever apply the glue right to the lashes. It's just so much glue. Apply it to the stick and then come back and get those to wrap. And then again, those are just a little bit harder, so we need to hold them there just a little bit longer, but they will wrap. Okay, just go through them one more time, make sure that I have them all wrapped and that they're straight. So now I can apply my step one. My step one is only going to go on from base to the middle of the lash. So I'm just going to dispense this onto my little silicone pad here. And then with my micro swab, I'll apply. So I'm just going to go right to that base, being careful not to get it inside of the eye. And then I'm just going to go up halfway up to the middle of her lash. And you don't want to apply it too thick, but you want to apply enough to where you see that you've applied it. Make sure they're all fully saturated as well. Okay. Do the same on this side. And again, you're going to go right to the base, just make sure not to get it inside of the eye. And we're going to go halfway up the middle of the lash. Okay. Okay, so now I have those applied. I'm going to set my timer here. I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes. And then we're going to pull it up to the ends after those 5 minutes. So we'll answer a few questions now, and then I'll let you know when it's been 5 minutes, and I'll let you know what I'm doing as I'm going.
Okay, Esther, so let's start with the first question. How do you clean the rods when you're done, and are they reusable?
So yeah, the rods are reusable. All you're gonna do is just take one of your cleansing pads once you remove them off of the skin. You'll take a cleansing pad, remove all of the glue that's left on the rod. You'll wash them in soap and water, then you can put them in Barbicide. I know that a lot of times, like as lash artists or, you know, we just always are really making sure that we don't leave our tools in the Barbicide too long. These ones you can leave them on in a little longer. They're not going to deteriorate. I know a lot of times if it's plastic, we won't even put it in the Barbicide. But these are really good. You could put them in the barbicide. They're not going to deteriorate. They'll just be the same as when you put them right in the barbicide and you take them out. They'll still look the same. So just put them in barbicide, leave them in 10 minutes, then you can pull them out.
Okay, and the next question, when you're wrapping the lashes around the rod, is it okay for a tip of some of the lashes to hang over past the rod?
So yeah, when I choose my rod, if it doesn't fully wrap around the rod, then I go down to a smaller size. So like when I first started on the model here, I did try for a medium, but it didn't wrap fully around the rod. So I went down to the small. Sometimes it does slightly past the rod, but I stick to that one because if I don't and I use the bigger rod, they're not really going to notice a difference in their lashes. The only thing that I do is when I'm applying my step 1, I don't ever pass the rod. I only go to the end of the rod, so those little lashes that are passed and onto the skin, I don't apply my step 1 because step 1 should never touch the skin.
Great, okay, and then our next question, can eyelash extensions be applied after lifting the lashes? How long should you wait if so?
I always have my clients wait at least 24 hours. It's a really long time for the clients to lay there for that long, you know, to do a lash lift and then turn around and do the lashes. And then another thing is that you really want to make sure that nothing was left on the lashes. I know that we cleanse them when we're done, and when we're going to start doing eyelash extensions, we cleanse them again to make sure they're clean. But it's already a really long time for them to be laying there, getting their lashes done, and then we're going to add on with a lash lift, and then we could have possibly left something behind, and it's just going to make the lashes fall out sooner. So I always just have them come in like a day before. We'll do the lash lift, and then they can come back and we can do the extensions. That way it makes it easier and not as long.
Okay. Can the lash lift be used to straighten naturally curly lashes?
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that's overlooked with this whole process. We always have in mind because it is a lash lift, it curls the natural lashes. We just always have that, you know, that it's only used to curl the lashes, but we can actually use it to kind of reverse and straighten the lashes just a bit, more so reforming the curl rather than straightening it out. There's some people that have just like really tight curly lashes, and they just, you know, they just want them a little bit more of a natural curl, more relaxed. So this is something that we could use. So we could also offer it for that, not just for curling the lashes. We can also offer it to reform the curl of the natural lashes.
And along that same line, a client who has naturally curly, tight curly lashes, when they regrow, will they come in at their natural state, or will they come in slightly less curly at that point?
Yeah, so they'll come in just the same. I mean, yes, there's some clients that they come in just slightly straighter or slightly more relaxed than they were before, but it's because you see them just growing in little amounts at a time. But normally they come back in the way they naturally are, and then you could redo the lash lift with time.
Okay, what if I don't get the result I was looking for? How long do I need to wait before I try again?
So with that, you would have to wait the 6 to 8 weeks. So when we first started and we went over the theory, we talked about how it lasts 6 to 8 weeks. That's the amount of time you'll need to wait before relifting the lashes. We really want to make sure that we're not over processing the natural lashes. So if we do a lash lift and we didn't get the result that we wanted, we turn around and we do it again, then we over process the lashes, and at that point there's not really anything you can do. You just have to let them cycle out and then try again. So if you don't get the result that you wanted, just wait the 6 to 8 weeks, and then we could try again. It has been the 5 minutes, so right now I'm just going to apply a little bit more of my step 1 onto the ends. And then again, there's a few little lashes here you could see on this corner that pass my rod. Again, I'm not going to apply all the way up into the skin. I'm just going to the end of my rod. Okay. And then again, and not too thick, just enough to where you could see that you have applied it. I'm going to have her tilt just a little there. Same here. Just going up to the end of the rod. Okay, and I'm going to wait another 5 minutes and then we will take that off.
Okay, so Esther, along the same lines as the previous question, what could be the reason the lashes didn't curl as much as I had expected?
There's a couple different things that, kind of play into that. One, maybe too much glue. I always recommend that we work in smaller sections just because even when you've already applied glue onto the rod and you apply more and you try to wrap the lashes